What's up, everybody? Welcome to that awkward part of a live stream at the beginning where I have to do the can you hear and see me thing, even though there's nobody on. But once someone does roll on, and it looks like we got quite a few folks waiting, if you could let me know if you can see and hear me okay, that would be aces. Had a few folks waiting. DM Agency, there's your free plug. Says, okay, great, I'm waiting. Chris M. Walker, look at that guy, says, let's go. New update song service, there's your plug. Says, great. Anthony, what's up, Anthony? Says, perfect. Good. Got a lot to cover today, so we're not going to spend too much time. Sound is low. Is anybody else having trouble with that? Is the sound too low? I'm not real sure how I can turn it up. Let me know. Jim says, what up? What's up, Jim? Loving Nature Guy says, hello, how you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. Chemdry Midwest says, hi, Chris from Ireland. What's up, Chemdry Midwest? Diganta says, new t-shirt. Yes, I got one. Let me see if you can see that. I got a Friends Legiit t-shirt made. Jim says, sounds good. Diganta says, sound is perfect. Okay, so whoever was saying they had trouble with the sound, just turn it up or something. Maybe come back out and come back in, something like that. Abdul says, hi, Chris. Your sound is fine. Thank you. DM Agency, once again, says hello. What's up, DM Agency? Brandon says, hi, Chris. What's up, Brandon? We are going to go ahead. It's 1 o'clock. I will give it till 1:02 or 1:03, and then we will get into it. Loving Nature Guy says, you're a real SEO expert. I do okay. I'm pretty good SEO. There's better, there's worse, but I do pretty good. Fran says, hi. What's up, Fran? Aniswar says, perfect. Thank you, my friend. Lahiru says, perfect. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Always a pleasure. We'll give it 1 or 2 more minutes. We can grab a drink. Rama's Yummy Kitchen, there's your plug, says t-shirt is dope. Is it 100% cotton? I don't actually know. I got it made on Gear Bubble. I can drop the link later if you'd like. B King, I think that's Brian, says, where's the pizza? There is no pizza. Although, if you check out Legiit sometime tomorrow, you might find a piece of pizza. Not even kidding. Anthony says New York hot dogs instead of pizza. Savage. Abdul says how everybody websites are doing. I'm sure there's a variety of answers to that. Things are going pretty well for our customers, though. All right, we'll give it 1 more minute, and then we are going to get into the presentation. There's a lot to cover today. And I literally just got this done half hour ago. So there's a very real possibility that there's going to be some errors in it. I guess I can just bring the whole thing up. Rich says, I'm actually in a New York City pizzeria right now. Come here and I'll buy you a slice. I will take you up on that someday. All right, let's go ahead and get into it because we got only an hour and I want to cover a lot soon. Might have lost me there for a second. I'll be right back. Oh, come on. Let's try this again. Hey guys, can you let me know when you can, when I'm back in business? Jim says all good now. LinkedIn user says this is great. All righty. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Today we are doing Google Maps, sort of an A to Z blueprint. The truth is I didn't have time to make a better thumbnail, so I used the same one from last week. But we're going to talk about some things. Now, last week we answered the question, can I please have a checklist of what to do every month for SEO? So I figured, and there were numerous requests for the same, that we should take the natural next step and talk about Google Maps. Somebody says, I'm new to LinkedIn Live. Will this be recorded? Yes. So we're going to talk about Google Maps. And I show this particular listing for a few reasons. The first is I have 2 of the 3 spots in the map pack, and depending upon where you search from. And the third person is doing something we're going to cover a little bit later and is only showing up for that particular reason. So I'm sure some of you will be able to tell me what that is. Others will want to know, but I wanted to show you. And I also wanted to show this in case somebody didn't know what the map pack was, because some people just may not. It's a tough balance to strike when you do these things, to think of every experience level someone might be at. So anyhow, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, warning, you will notice that I used this exact same slide. Well, this exact same warning slide in the last week, because again, didn't have time to do a new one. Some things though, this is not literally the only thing you have to do. These are just some major key points that you should do, and that I don't want to say you need to do, but I pretty much need to do. This is not designed for organic SEO, meaning it's not for anything other than maps for the most part, although a lot of this is just good SEO that will help with both, but strategically it's designed for maps. This is not the only way to succeed. I know that people in this industry love to beat their chest and pick like tribes of what strategy they use, and anything that isn't theirs is wrong. These are some steps that I take that have worked for me. So yeah, this is not a static thing. Each case is different. Each SERP is different. Each campaign is different. My point in saying that is people want there to be the one way to do things, and unfortunately it just doesn't work that way. So you're going to have to put some skill into and adapt into the different parts of this as well. This is not a fully in-depth dive into every part. I'm going to cover all the things I think are important, and go into deep detail on some of them, but there's just not enough time to go into detail on every one of them. I'm going to recommend some freelancers because I own a freelancing platform and I believe in outsourcing things that you don't want to do. And if I do recommend someone for something, it doesn't mean they're the only person that's good at that. It's just something that I have experience with. And there will be, under no circumstances, pizza provided today. That was just a vicious clickbait to get you in here. So I apologize. Not really. So here are some of the major factors: on-site, Google Business Setup, and off-site factors. That's the main 3 things we're going to cover today. Are there other things? Probably. Some things I kind of wasn't sure even which category to put them in, but that's kind of what we're going to be going through. And if I had to do this over, I would rearrange the order on those. So Google Business Setup. This is another important word. Again, I rearranged the order here, so bear with me. This is a part this is important to get it right. It's probably the most important thing to get right, but you're still going to find cases where people got it wrong and they're still ranking number 1. That's the frustrating thing about Google Maps. And I only bring that up because I know somebody's going to be like, well, there's this one where I live where they didn't do any of this stuff and they're ranking. And that's because frankly, the Google Maps algorithm needs some work. So anyhow, I just wanted to make sure that up, but let's look through an example. This one, if you're in Superstar SEO Academy, and if you're not, shame on you. But if you are, you'll recognize the case study we did. This is Sorcerer Digital. It's not a real business. It's a fake digital marketing agency that I made up for the purposes of a case study that I did. And this is one of the 2 examples we're going to be using today to kind of walk through all of this. So again, not a real business. It's based out of an address that I have access to. And yeah, so anyway, that's what that is. I actually found some things surprising as I was setting up this presentation about this GMB, and I will mention them as we go through. Now, one thing earlier I asked you, let me see, is there a way to go back? on this one is I pointed out that this guy is ranking because of something he's doing. And part of that is because he has keyword stuffed his business name. His business name is New Sun SEO, but he has put in Myrtle Beach SEO there. And you're not supposed to do that. And it can eventually get changed or get you suspended. But unfortunately, it works. They said they were cracking down on it, but anyhow. But you'll notice that I have not done that here. I have just used the business name as the name. So I wanted to point that out before we went any further. So what we're going to be doing now is walking through an example Google business setup. I'm going to walk through most of the important parts and talk about the different things in them. So if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat, but I won't get them to them until the end of the presentation, but you can drop them at any point. So this is the inside of a Google business, and you get to that, by the way, at google.com/business. And this is what it looks like. This is kind of I don't know if you call it the dashboard or whatever. One thing that surprised me is the performance of this particular one. It only got 64 search views, but map views, it got almost 5,000, which is amazing because I really haven't done much with it. I don't know if it's just people from the course looking for it or what, but it's kind of crazy because it's not even a real business. And I guess this kind of shows you how powerful Google Maps can be. So this is just kind of where you start. There's not a lot to see there. We're going to go over to info. There's a lot to go through here. So be patient as we do. Can you guys see this okay, by the way? Is it zoomed in enough? Okay. All right. So this is the address. And the phone number is down here. This is the name. So name, address, phone number. It's important to get those consistent across all properties. And this is kind of the master of where they are. Now, caveat, it used to be that you had to get it exactly right. Like lane had to be LN or LANE. It just depended. Google's gotten smart enough to know that. So if you should still do it exactly the same as often as possible, but if it doesn't give you the option in some other places, then get as close as you can. Service area for this particular business, since it's a digital marketing business, we just chose the United States. But you could, if it was the type of business where you only service a particular area, this is where you would set that. But since this is an internet marketing, it's a fake one, but it's an internet marketing business, that's where we do that. And by the way, the reason I'm not showing this is a real example, but I'm not showing like a real example is because anything I show will get attacked. Like this one's probably going to get reported as being fake. And if you're watching this in the future and it's gone, that's why, because people suck. So that's why we're using an example that should it get removed, I don't care. And then these are your business hours. Obviously you put whatever's appropriate for you. I put open 24 hours. The more often you can be open, the better. More hours and special hours are holidays and things like that. Let's see. This is kind of what it looks like. You can set up an @ name, and you should. That's kind of like when you make a Facebook page or something like that. Just set that up as your brand name, your business name, whatever. This is the website. An appointment link would be, and I thought I had set that up, but I guess I didn't. That would be a link where they can book a call with you. So it can be on your website, or it can be like a Calendly or something like that. Products we're going to talk about in a little bit. Services we're going to talk about in a little bit. And then this stuff you can fill into it. This is, I don't know. It doesn't really matter that much. Next, these are business features that you can add, and you should add as many of those as is true. Obviously, I'm not black owned. I'm not black or a woman, so I didn't identify those. If you're a veteran, you can add those. I'm not a veteran either, so I didn't, and I just don't think it's cool to lie, but you should fill out as many of these as possible. That's one thing I want you to take away from this entire thing, is to use as much of what they give you as possible. It may not be necessary, but they're asking for it, so there's no reason not to do it, if that makes sense. Accessibility, amenities, health and safety. Just fill out as much of that as you can. Online appointments. This is the description. Now, if I had this to redo, I would make it sound much better than it does, basically, and write it in more plain English. It's good to get your keyword in there, but I went way overboard and over kind of stuffed it or whatever. And this is not a great way to do it, but just explain a little bit about your business, get a keyword or two in there, but in a natural, what's the word? Semantic, I think, way, and just kind of do that. But again, I went way overboard, and this isn't really meant to be an SEO site, so I don't know why I did that, but just write a nice description like you would on anything else. Get your keyword in there, but don't go like stuffing it like I have there. So this is the analytics tab. The reason I show this is because, one, again, I'm stunned that this is getting any like maps views, but for whatever reason it is. But there's another thing in here I wanted to show that, and I think it's on the next slide, that showed me an opportunity that you can use this data to improve it. So again, no calls, again, not even a real business. I'm not even sure where that phone number goes. But these two things were interesting to me. Businesses like mine, and I'm not sure how they determine that, but businesses like mine are getting 100 or 1,000.86 photo views, and I'm getting 206. And then similarly, they have a lot more photos than I do. So if I were really trying to rank this, and maybe I will after I decide that people aren't going to attack it, I would add more photos and try to get more photo views, because obviously I'm doing something wrong. But basically the reason I'm showing you this is that it exposed an opportunity. And again, these aren't like phenomenal numbers by any means, but considering this isn't even a real site, it was just something I threw up for a case study. I think that shows how important this can be. Reviews, pretty straightforward. One thing is that people, in my opinion, overrate reviews for an SEO factor and underrate them for a client factor. So, I mean, reviews, I think everybody here knows what a review is. You can try to get the keyword in them. It doesn't hurt. It's not the game changer that some people will tell you that it is, but it is important from a client point of view. So get reviews. You can buy them. I think if you have to, I don't have a problem with that. I've done it before. It's not the best way. It's better to get real ones from like real people that have worked with you, but there's that. And apparently there is something going on right now where even real reviews aren't being posted. I don't know the whole story there, but it's been a pain. So that's that. I don't think that needs a lot of explanation. Messages. I literally just turned this on today because I don't know why I didn't have it turned on, but apparently they can send you messages through your Google Business. It's not something I've spent a lot of time with. Photos. This is kind of funny to me. You want to at least get the ones that it suggests here. So a video, the interior, exterior, at work, team, and identity. I didn't really do most of that because, like I said, it's not a real business. But even there, you can see these pictures of me looking goofy and getting some views. So, but you want to at least fill out one in each category. And obviously you want to put as many as you possibly can. There are tools that can help you do that as well. I didn't mention it, but geotagging, it's definitely not that big a deal. It will help rank your images in Google Images. So you can geotag if you want. It's not a big ranking factor like it used to be though. So I didn't bother to put a slide about that. Also, I forgot. Products, if you have a product, you would obviously put it here. I don't think there's a lot to really be said about that, except for, again, people are seeing this and this isn't even a real like business. So yeah, services was interesting to me apparently. And this is again, why I don't use real examples for things that I show in public. So if you want to be one of those, why can't you show any? That's why. Services were added or removed from your business based on feedback from customers and other Google sources. So apparently I was ranking for something, and somebody said, I can't even tell if they decided to add or remove those, but yeah, so I need to accept those changes. But services, you just want to put everything that you offer here. So don't lie, never lie. So yeah, doesn't Google geotag images anyway? I would have thought so. Not that I know of. I could be wrong. I don't think so though. And we're going to talk about this, and this would have made more sense if I hadn't switched the order of the slides around, but Google gives you a website, and we're going to talk about this more in the on-page portion, but I literally just clicked create it today, and the structure that it gives you gives you a lot of clues on how you should optimize your site for on-page, but we're going to talk about that more in a bit. But yeah, you definitely want to set that up. In some cases, that can be all you really need. So post. Now, this one is important. You want, well, let's just cover what there is first. And you can do a COVID-19 update. I haven't done that because just afraid to touch that subject. You can add an offer. So if you have like, if you're like a restaurant and you have like, get a free dessert when you buy dinner, that sort of thing. An update is exactly that. An update, an event is, you know, if you're having live music at your restaurant, something like that. Excuse me. And then a product is obviously a product. Talking a little more about posts. I like to do them 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But it varies by industry. Like there's some of them, it just doesn't make any sense to do anything to do them on a Friday. It makes more sense to do them on the weekend. It makes, you know, so you're going to have to apply a little decision making to that. But I like to do 3 a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But again, if you ask 100 different SEOs on this, you're going to get 100 different takes on what's the right way, the right frequency, the way to structure them, and so on. So I like to mix up the different types, do an update, an offer, an event, just whatever works. But don't just do all updates or all offers or all events. I know we may be tempted to do all offers because we want to make money, but in my experience, it's best to mix them up a little bit. A thing I like to do is do an update post from a blog post on my site, and then take like the first paragraph or so and put that in the Google post, and then link over to the blog post itself. Will the video be saved? Yes. Robert says, does Google strip the EXIF data from the images? Again, like I said, I don't really spend a lot of time on geotagging anymore anyway, but it depends on where you're uploading. But yeah, it's not worth spending a lot of time doing geotagging. If you have a few extra minutes, sure. This is a tool that I use to do my Google business posts as well as my Google business rank tracking. It's called Local Viking. You can check it out. You can, if you want to get me some affiliate commission, you can go to superstarseo.com/localviking, and you can see a webinar I did, I guess maybe a year and a half ago, with the owner who had some real good info on that. Any examples for events post for home services niche? I mean, you would just have to know what they're doing. Like, I don't know, maybe you're going to go be at a fair or something. You just have to know your business and work with your client and know what they are doing for events. You can't just make stuff up. So just whatever event they're doing, just make an event. And here's a couple of services. For the most part, I don't recommend you to outsource optimizing your Google business, but these are a couple services, and they'll be linked in either in the comments if you're watching this on Facebook, or in the description if you're watching this on my website or on YouTube. So yeah, these are a couple. This one's for Google Business. This one's for Google Posts. So check those out if you want to get someone to help you out. Those are the links. And I'll be uploading this presentation as well. LinkedIn user says, I love that domain name. Oh, Sorcerer Digital. I actually use, there's a Shopify has a tool to help you pick a business name, and that's how I picked it. I put in digital, and it just gave me a bunch of words, and I was like, digital sorcerer, that's cool, but that was taken. So it came up with Sorcerer Digital. Read that automating posting like isn't as effective as manually posting. Any opinion? I don't know. I don't have any problem with it. So I don't know what effective versus not effective would even mean. But no, there's nothing wrong with automating posting. If you want to do it manually, that's certainly fine too. You can just hire somebody to do it. But once you get up to a certain amount of GMBs, it's just not feasible. So let me grab a drink of water, and then we will move into on page. Alrighty. LinkedIn user says superstar SEO. Oh, yeah, that's been my brand since 2015, 14, somewhere in there. The story behind that is I wanted something SEO, and I really like professional wrestling, and they stopped calling wrestlers and started calling them superstars. So I was like, superstar SEO it is. So that's the entire story behind that brand name. So on-site, this is super important for SEO in general, and 100% you should get it done if you have a website. But again, entirely possible to get this wrong and still rank in Google Maps. So again, somebody's going to be like, well, I saw one where they didn't even have any like H1 tags or blah, 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 and it didn't rank. And just to give you an example of a situation like that, as I showed you earlier, my agency is, well, it's not really even an agency at this point, but Superstar SEO LLC is ranking in somewhere between 1 and 3 in the top results, usually, depending on where you search from. And it has Myrtle Beach SEO on the site 0 times. So, or on the homepage 0 times. So, yeah. Lots of questions. You can automate posts through Local Viking? Yes. How does having 2 businesses at the same address impact ranking? It depends. Let's come back to that because I want to get through the presentation, and I'll come back and address that when we get done, because there's still a lot to cover and we're already halfway through. So in fact, you don't even necessarily have to have a website at all to rank in Google Maps. Although obviously I don't know why you wouldn't want a website, but in theory, you and I'm sure some of us have seen that, where there's map packs where there's no website at all. And you can just use the business.site provided by a Google Business. In fact, that's one of the on-page things that we want to talk about. And this site looks like absolute. It doesn't look good, but it's the one I generated for my business a couple of years ago. What this does do is give you a hint, and this looks like absolute terrible. I don't even remember setting this up, but apparently I did. But it gives you a hint on what they're looking for in as far as site structure. So, you know, the brand name at the top, a brief description, an appointment button, an image, some blog posts. And now if I cared, I would go through and make this look better. But some blog posts, some testimonials, the write a review and read more. You would obviously put a body here. And then some images and the map and so on. So yes. So that's just another thing you can do. Brian, wow, where did it go? Brian says on-page SEO helps ranking maps too. Yes, it does. But like I said, you don't necessarily have to get it right either. I have to like cover every caveat, or there's going to be some troll in the comments. But yeah, it's absolutely important to get your Google Maps ranking right in theory. But again, there are Google Maps where there's no website at all, and it's ranking too. So it's hard to say that, like, you know what I mean? So anyhow, but yeah, this I found I'm having good results in structuring sites similar to the Google site that they give you and getting results that way. So that's just something to consider. And you would definitely want to make it look better than that one looks. So. Sorry about that. Next slide. Some more specific things for maps ranking, including the basics of on-page that you're going to want to do regardless. Like, there's no reason not to get that right, whether it's you're doing maps or not. You know, if you have an affiliate site, you still want to get on-page right. So always get the on-page right. Some things, embed a map on the site. That used to be really important. I don't find it makes that much difference as far as map ranking now. It doesn't hurt, and it's definitely good for other reasons, like to help people find your business and stuff like that. But it's not a big needle mover, but it can be a tiebreaker. So, you know, one more second. Content about things in your local area. This does, in my opinion, help some because it helps the local relevance of your site. Relevance is super popular, super important. Whew, boy. Yeah. So sorry, I'm got distracted there for a second. Super, it's important, and it's just something I've found that if you make blog posts about stuff going on in your area, it helps a little bit. And then same kind of thing with linking out to local organizations. You don't have to go too crazy for this, but one here and there helps. Now, those are crucial, but they're worth doing, and they can be tiebreakers. So the map embed on the site thing is probably going to be controversial, but in my opinion, it's just not as important as it was for Google Maps ranking. That said, there's plenty of reason to do it. That's kind of a lot of what I'm saying today is there's a lot of things that It's important to do, and it helps a little, but anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. Next slide. Schema is another one. And again, this is too in-depth to dive into in this particular webinar. I did one with Rob Beal, let's say 2 weeks ago on this topic. So check that out at superstarseo.com/free schema training. And if you want to get somebody to do your schema for you, and there will be links to these in the presentation and on the page, but here's a couple of good services for that. This one is SEO Magician, and this one is My Canonical Romance. And I've used both of those and been pleased. So if you want to learn more about diving into schema, just check out that link there. There's a whole, it's like an hour-long presentation. So at the end of the day, though, if you have a website, you want to do proper on-page for the site. If not, just use a business.site, but even then you want to optimize that. But if you have a website, do the on-page. It helps with Google Maps. It helps with organic. There's just no reason not to do it and get it right. Next week, I say next week, I'm traveling next Wednesday, so I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it, but the next session is going to be all about on-page SEO. So look forward to that if you want to. If not, then screw you. No, for real though. Next week, next session, we're going to go into on-page SEO. So be on the lookout for that. Next up, off-page factors. So some of these are important. Some of them are very important, at least in my opinion. I'm just going to assume anything I say ever is in my opinion, because there's always, nothing is absolute except for the fact that nothing is absolute. Some of these are very important. Some are moderately important and others are unimportant, but they can be tiebreakers. And what I mean by that is if you ever run into an instance where for a bullet where two people get everything exactly right, then it comes down to the tiniest little tiebreakers. So location specific links, these are super difficult to come by, but they're very, very powerful. So it's like local organizations that allow you to, in exchange for a donation, put a link, that sort of thing. If you can find those local radio stations, sometimes things like that, anything like that you can find, really powerful. It takes some time, and I've not found a good way to outsource it, unfortunately. But those are really, really powerful. If you are a member of your Chamber of Commerce, make sure you get a link of them. Hey, Robert beat me to it. Chamber of Commerce, get a link from them, things like that. They really, really help a lot. So it's the hardest type of link to get, but the juice is worth the squeeze. So same for niche specific links, although I don't find those to be quite as powerful because it's too easy to manufacture that kind of relevance. And it's just easier so suppose you have I live in Myrtle Beach. So suppose you have a Myrtle Beach carpenter. It's much easier to find links about carpenters than it is about Myrtle Beach because there's, carpenters worldwide. So yeah. NAP, I kind of covered that before, but name, address, and phone number, you want that consistent across all properties. It used to be the single most important thing. It's still very important. It's not the number one thing anymore, in my opinion. I guess I'm just going to have to get used to saying in my opinion. I can't break the habit, but get that right everywhere, because even if it has no impact on SEO, why wouldn't you want that to be right? So just get that right everywhere. Citations, these used to be the world breaker, meaning that whoever had the most won. That's not true at all anymore. They are still important. You want to fill them out entirely, and you want to optimize them for your term and stuff, and do your best to get them indexed. Some of them just are not going to index, but Omega Indexer helps with that. Google News posts help with that. So get the main ones, the Yelp, the Hot Frog, the Foursquare, and then find some niche and location specific ones, and then call it a day. And maybe try to match your competitors if you want. But it used to be if you could crush out 400 or 500 of these, no matter the quality, you would win. And that's not the case anymore. So I want to make sure I'm as clear about that as possible. Localized geo networks. This is an advanced technique. And to be honest, I'm not that good at setting them up myself. I have some freelancers that I use to do them, but basically you're kind of creating what I talked about with location specific links. You're kind of generating that. It's not as powerful, but it is powerful. So it's not as powerful as location specific links, but you're kind of manufacturing that through other properties, if that makes sense. Let's see, stacks. This is another advanced technique, and there's a couple of really great freelancers that do this. There's Mercy SEO and rank checker. We're going to talk about that in a second. But these are really powerful. It's a way of using Google properties and interlinking them in a strategic way. I don't know it well enough to teach it. Maybe I'll get Roheen or Simeon to come on one time and do that. But it's a super powerful technique. I do it to every campaign. CTR, I should have moved that up higher. This one, I'm reluctant to even bring it up. It's very powerful when it's done right. I personally don't have the patience to figure out the right variation of searches. So I've found people that are experts at it that do it. But CTR stands for click-through rate. It's basically where you're sending traffic to simulate Google traffic to help your ranking. So I use a service for it. We'll talk about that in a second. Embeds. This one is controversial too. It used to be that just a handful of any embed on any high DA property would work. That helps a tiny, tiny bit. But what does work is aged niche or location relevant embeds, map embeds, where you embed a map on those properties. Those are hard to come by. I have found one good service for it. There's probably others, but that's important too. It may not necessarily need those. That might be a tiebreaker, but you might as well do it. And if you can get some good relevant ones, it really does help. Tiebreakers are Google custom maps that you make at google.com/mymaps, and driving directions. That's those like circle things that people like to make fun of. People don't test things properly. I saw a video about this recently from someone that should know better. They will build one of those and do and then wait and see if it works, if it like moves the ranking and not do anything else, and then say it when it doesn't, say that it didn't work. That's not quite the way it works. So if you get everything else right, these are some things you can do to break the tie. So I think that's it. There was something else I wanted to cover that I didn't put on here, and I already forgot it again. So hopefully that'll come to me before we wrap up. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, so I apologize. So here's some vendors for that. For citations, you get this Handsome Devil or this one. This is Citation Expert. And again, these will all be linked for you. London SEO. For localized networks, this is Ravinder from Search Combat. This one is Tran. I actually did a video about this one a few months back, and it did so well that he got overwhelmed with work and ended up not being able to deliver, but he does do a great job in regardless. This is Simeon. Simeon does Google Stacks. These are really, really powerful, and he does a great job with them. He works with some really big names, and maybe we'll see if we can't get him to do some kind of case study or something for us, but these are real powerful. Same thing here with Roheen. Roheen's been on several times before, so he does a great job. This is for embeds. This is the one I recommend, even more so than mine. This is Tony Peacock. He knows embeds very, very well, and this is a really powerful service that I got some good results from recently. There's my embed service, which is a little more cost effective, but it's definitely not as powerful as this one. This is, and it's not a great thumbnail, unfortunately, but this is the CTR service I've been using. And by the way, this is what, there's a few tools that do it now, but this is what Local Viking rank tracker looks like. So those are called GeoGrids. And then here's a couple of the tiebreaker services that we talked about as well. Whew. Shameless plug. If you want to learn more about Google Maps ranking and anything else SEO, check out superstarseo.com/academy. That's my course with, it's not really a course. I mean, it is a course, but it's more of a community and a coaching and mentorship group where we have myself, we have Jeff Cazio, we have Scott Allen, Jim Spellico. There's literally like 200 videos and tons of training in there for you now, for maps, for organic, for everything else. So if you want to learn more, just check that out. Because I'm a marketer and it hurts my soul not to plug something. So questions. Let me grab some water. I'll go back and look at the questions that I skipped over. And then if you have any more, drop those in. And I hope you've been finding this helpful, interesting, any of that stuff. If so, please let me know. If not, we will adapt future live streams. But give me 1 second and we'll cover some questions. I also want to make sure I didn't miss any questions anywhere else, because I don't like to do that. righty. All right, let's scroll up a little bit. No went back. All good now. Let's see. Doesn't Google tag? Oh, we already covered that one. Will the video be saved? Yes. Wherever you're watching it, you'll be able to watch it again. You'll be able to watch it on YouTube and on. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Looking in the wrong place. Where is StreamYard? There we go. Oh boy. Yeah, wherever you're watching this, you'll be able to watch it again. Or you can watch it on my website where it'll be, or you can watch it on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. What's the Twitter one? Periscope and Twitch. Let's see. Thread automating through local Viking. I mean, that would be consistent with what I know about automating in social media posts, but I haven't seen that as the case. That hasn't been my experience. You can automate through local Viking? Yes. How does having two businesses at the same address impact ranking? So I guess it depends. Like, I'm in an office building and there's, hundreds of businesses here. Do you mean two of your own businesses or two similar businesses? Can you just clarify what you mean by two businesses at the same address? Because there's different ways of answering that. If you have two SEO agencies, that can be a problem. But if you have a restaurant and an accountant in like the same building, that's not as big an issue. So just clarify what you're asking, I guess. Glad to see all on page SEO helps in ranks too. Do you feel Google citations play a part in Google Maps? Only as a tiebreaker. They used to be really, really powerful. They'd rank all on their own, and you could just I don't want to say spam them, but you could really abuse that. It does, SEOs ruin that, but they can still be a tiebreaker. Makes sense. Do what Google does. Yeah, I mean, that's not all there is to it, but take advantage of everything that they're giving you, Rob Beal is awesome. Laugh out loud. Missed it. That's okay. Wherever you typed I missed it, you'll be able to see it again. Robert beat me to saying Chamber of Commerce. Google Maps citations aren't important in off-page SEO. Again, they can be a tiebreaker, but no, they aren't the world breaker that they were in like 2017. Where did I get that term world breaker? Was that from World of Warcraft? Yeah, they have their uses. But if you set those up expecting that to move the ranking by itself, you're probably going to be disappointed unless you are exactly tied. 100% local bloggers. Yeah, that's another one. There aren't a ton of those around here that I know of, but yeah. Do you include NAP no phone number in all of your GMB posts? Not all, but you can. In SEO, I think anytime you say all is you're asking for trouble, but you can definitely do that. What do you embed exactly? Just the maps, share iframe for the GMB. Yeah. So if you would go to google.com/maps and then find your business and you can get the embed code from there. You should be able to figure out how to do that. If not, I guess I can do one real quick for you, but yeah, that's what you want to embed. On-site inter-page linking still important? Is that a question or a statement? If it's a question, then yes, interlinking is definitely important, both for everything, How many social signals can we create by free without any paid tools? I don't know. I guess it just depends. If you go viral, you can create an unlimited amount. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Have you found any significant difference between a local business who shows their location in GMB versus one who hides it and just defines a service area? I like to show it unless there's some reason not to, but you can definitely definitely rank either way. But for the most part, I don't, unless you just you're working out of your house and you don't want somebody to come there, although you're not really supposed to do that. There's no reason to hide it, in my opinion. Just do what real businesses would do, But if you have a service area business, like you're I don't know, what do they call bug killers, exterminators, and where you go in a certain area, you should definitely set up that area. I probably glossed over that and I shouldn't have, so I do apologize for that. How can we arrive Google zero position? It means Google snippet. Let me grab a blog post I have about that for you. go. Ah, there it is. So this is for Akash and anybody really. We feel about Reddit links toward a website. Reddit links, if you can get Reddit with like a Reddit with some karma and some age, they actually work pretty well. But again, it's one of those things where you have to get like the right ones and use them in the right way. But they can be quite powerful if used correctly. Two businesses that are similar, it's a pain in the butt. Like it's going to be whoever does if they're in the same category, basically, it's going to be whoever does their SEO better. And because like in my old office building, there was another SEO agency there. At least, again, I don't even really think of myself as an SEO agency anymore, but that's how we were listed, and I was able to beat them because I had better SEO. So most of the time, if you are in the same building as someone in your category, you're going to have to out SEO them. Does backlinks with high authority help ranking GMB? So if you mean like Moz domain authority, no, but you want local authority, local relevance, niche authority, and niche relevance. The relevance is more important than the authority. So even if it's like a super strong link, if it's not relevant, it's not going to hit as hard as a weaker link that is. Ooh, where did it go? There it is. When you order Google Stacks, do you send them the link to the maps, such as the link they give you to share? Yeah, different ones want different things, but if they ask for your map, then yeah. So it just depends on what they ask for, because different people do it slightly differently. Without a suite number, yeah, that's not great, unfortunately. Hey, Chris, will the CTR or embeds work better / faster? You mean like one versus the other? CTR is more valuable than embeds, in my opinion. Thumbs up all. Thank you, James. That's very kind of you. Kevin says, does Google allow you to link your site in the GMB post? Yes. Robert says, what's the best practice? How many categories after the primary are you adding in the GMB listing? All that apply. So if I'm a marketing agency, I don't add that I'm a dental practice, but I add as many as things that I do. So if you were a marketing agency, you might add website developer or whatever web design firm, whatever they call it. Just add as many as are appropriate. Put your main one as your main one. I know it sounds like I'm copping out on an answer, but do everything that you would do if you weren't doing it for SEO purposes. So put the main one and then put all the other ones that apply. Like if you're an accountant, you can do certified public accountant, tax accountant, accounting firm, I think is one of them. Just do whatever applies, Hi, Churs. Can you explain about the multi-locations as well? Can you clarify the question? You mean if you have like a business with franchises, or I want to make sure I answer the right question. So can you just clarify for me? Donna says, where should we embed our map? On the contact page and in the footer. And she added a pizza. Not in the footer, no. On a page is ideal. So if you have a specific location page, you can put it there, or you can put it on the contact page, but do not put it in the footer. I know that's like the traditional thing to do, but we found that actually has a negative impact. I guess I should have mentioned that. And she put a piece of pizza there. I told you there would be no pizza. But remember, check back on Legiit tomorrow. There will indeed be pizza. Thank you for the link, sir. My pleasure. Does Google mind if it found the same business on different locations? Google mind the same business. So that would fall, if I'm understanding that correctly, that would fall under getting your NAP correct. Your name, address, and phone number. If you have some that are wrong, you should change as much of those as possible. Sometimes it's not going to be possible, but you should definitely clean those up. If I'm answering the right question. Do you point the citation listings URL to the GMB ID or the company website? The company website. In fact, the specific page on the website that you are associating with that GMB. So in a lot of cases, that'll be your homepage, but it might be site.com/New York or whatever, So, but yeah, I always pointed them to the company website. The GMB optimization link. Does this take care of all steps? Yeah. Oh, the service. Send him a message and make sure. I've always done it internally. I just trust that freelancer in particular, but I think he would go in and optimize all the different steps for you. But some of the, I don't know. I don't want to say 100% sure, but I trust that freelancer to do a good job. So just shoot him a message and see what exactly it includes. But I think so. I think he goes through and just optimizes all the steps and stuff. And I'll get a clearer answer and put it in the description once we get off of here. So. And we're caught up on questions. Aaron says, I don't have a question, but Chris at Superstar SEO is the best. Well, thank you, Aaron. I actually am going to be emailing you later today, by the way. That's very kind of you. Thank you. That makes my day. One minute while I grab another drink. We've been here for 51 minutes. Oh, boy. All right, I'm going to hop back on camera so you can all see my gorgeous face. So we've been here for 52 minutes. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to get into? Any more questions? Anything else you know? Do you have all-in-one GMB service? No, I've been considering launching that, but I want to make sure I get the proper staff in place for it. So I don't, but I can set that up if that's something you're interested in. So let me know in the comments if that's something you want me to set up. Will there be a replay? Yes. I was going to say yes, sir, but I don't know if that's sir or ma'am. Yes, there will. Wherever you're watching this now, it'll be there. So whether it's on my website, on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch. I don't know if Twitch does replays or not. And Periscope. Liz Winfrey says, learned a lot. Thanks a lot, Chris. Thank you. Have you been getting verified? Postcard only? Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to say that I only do legitimate ones because I've shown you 3 businesses today that are mine. But generally, I just do postcard and do it, the right way. In fact, most of the time when I take on a client, they already have one. But if they don't, I just do the postcard and try to be as above board as possible with it. Is there one on Legiit? I don't know. Probably. I'll look into it, Adam, and I will. Well, you're on YouTube. I'll try to find out one or set one up, and I will link that over for you. But I'm pretty sure there is. And if not, dude, let me know. Just message me on Facebook or drop a comment, and I'll set one up for you. Because I want to make sure that I give you what you need, Best way to get addresses for lead gen GMBs. You're talking to the wrong person on that. I don't know. I know there's services that can do that, but we had to remove those from Legiit because they were, there was just a lot of problems. I'll just leave it at that. Shanur says, it's regarding map GMB rankings. Suppose my keyword is SEO service. It's important to add location name after keyword, service, SEO service plus city. That location also can I rank? I like to have it in, I assume you're talking about in the URL. I like to have it that way, but is it important? Yes. Can you do it without it? Yes. Saeed says hello. What's up, Saeed? I want to come back to Adam's question. I think I do know one. Give me one moment. Last I checked, he had it paused because he was getting caught up. But give me one moment and I'll see if I can't find you one. And if not, I'll set one up myself. I try to balance between being the owner and being able to provide things, So 1 minute. Yeah, the one I was going to recommend. Oh, no, here it is. I have not personally used this service, but Adrian, I know, does a great job and gets good results. So that's a full one, and I'll drop that in the comments too. So Adam, if you can check that one out, and if not, message me on Legiit Superstar SEO, and I'll set something up for you personally. RC says, how important is submission to data aggregators? I like to do it. It's a pain in the butt to like keep them up, but it's not as important as it once was, but you should do it, in my opinion. Steve says, thanks, Chris. It's been very useful and refreshing to attend a call like this with helpful and honest content. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Steve. I try to give more than I get. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I noticed your GMB listings are linked to 3 different website URLs. Any SEO reason for that setup? No. The Superstar SEO one is in my actual like legitimate business, like literally the room I'm in right now. The Chris Walker SEO one is fake. It's using a UPS address, so it's probably going to get suspended now that I admitted this on a live stream. But it's using a UPS address, which you're not supposed to do. But obviously it worked. The Source for Digital one is using another private address that I used. So no, those were both the Chris Walker SEO one and the Source for Digital one were just for case studies where I needed something. But no, there's no SEO reason for it. And we're caught up on questions. We got about 3 minutes left. I will upload the presentation to my website as well. So let me bring that back up on screen. And you'll be able to find that, I think. Do you recommend multiple GMBs for legit business to spread proximity? No. Type of backlinks is need to rank GMB, citations, and just rewatch the presentation. I kind of covered a lot of different types of backlinks. I have 2 with UPS mailboxes. They're old, so they still work, but I wouldn't get any new ones from UPS mail store. Yeah, that one's old as well, so I think that's why I'm getting away with it. So I'll just breeze through the presentation real quick. And then if you joined late, you can just watch this later, wherever you're watching it. So, all right. So we talked about Google Maps. We talked about how you can put the keyword in the business name, but you're not supposed to. These are some things that it's not. This presentation is not. It's not the only thing you have to do. It's not designed for organic. It's not the only way to succeed. It's not a static thing. Each case is different. And, we can't go into every part of everything because it's just too much. Like it took me an hour just to get through this. These aren't the only good freelancers or services, and there will be no pizza, although that one lady before did some. These are the 3 main categories we covered. Google Business Setup, and I'm just going to kind of breeze through this real quick. This is what it looks like. This is your main dashboard. This is address, hours, NAP, services, and appointment link, and short your at name, for lack of a better term. These are some more features, as well as your description. That's not a good description, so please don't emulate that one. These are some analytics that shows. This one fascinates me that it's getting that many map views because it not a real business even. This one tells me that I should add some more pictures. This one is where your reviews would be. You should always respond to reviews. I don't think I mentioned that before, but they're not as powerful for SEO as they are for business in general. This is where people can message you. You want to set up at least the photos that it asks for, and then as many as you possibly can. Products and services, add all your products, add all your services. Don't add things that you don't do. This is the Google site. We cover that later. And then these are Google posts. There's the different types. These are how I do it. I do 3 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but you do it a lot of different ways. And this is something that's worked well for me, this bottom one. Local Viking is a tool to help track your rankings, to automate a lot of your posting, and it does a lot. So just check out that replay. It's on my channel as well. Or just if you want to give me some affiliate money, just sign up. Here's a couple services, one for GMB optimization, one for Google Posts. Those are service links. On-site is important for SEO in general, as well as, I don't think I made that clear enough, but as well as for Google Maps, but you can also get it wrong and still rank, as is shown here. You don't even necessarily need a website. You can just use the business.site, but there's no reason why you wouldn't want to have a website. This is an example of the business of that site. Try to emulate that site structure as much as you can on your own website. And these are some other things you can do. A map embed somewhere on the site, but not in the footer. Content about things in your local area, links out to local organizations, and schema. And there's a whole presentation on schema at this URL that I did with Rob Beal. And then here's some freelancers that do schema. If you have a website, you want to do proper on-site. It's not just if not, you just use the business.site, but no matter what, if you have a website, you want to do proper on-site, there's no reason not to. We're going to cover on-site next time. Links, we want location-specific links like Chamber of Commerce, things like that, local bloggers, somebody suggested, niche-specific ones, those are real powerful. You want to have consistent NAP across all your properties because there's no reason not to. Citations, not as important as they used to be, but you still want the big ones, the local ones, and the niche ones. Local geo networks, I just watched the replay. I don't want to get into that whole thing again. Same with stacks. Embeds are powerful if they are relevant. CTR is advanced, but I'm always afraid to tell people to do that because I don't want to mess it up. And then tiebreakers can be custom maps and driving directions. Here are some services for all of those. Those will be linked in this presentation and wherever you're watching this. And if you want to learn more about Google Maps or SEO or Shopify or anything else like that, anything SEO or online related, check out superstarseo.com/academy. And that brings us back to questions. So, woo! Do you recommend multiple GMBs for legit businesses to spread proximity? No, I do not. If I had, okay, I read that one. Any advice if Google has blocked your GMB page because it has recognized that the business is a virtual office? There's a service I know of. I don't know if it can work in that instance, but there is a service I know of and trust the freelancer on to get them reinstated. But if it wasn't supposed to be there, you're going to have a battle, you know? My new lead gen tracking tool works so well, works so awesome with GMBs. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Knowledge bomb. Surprised Jim didn't just say boom. All right. And that, you know what? That brings us to the 1 hour mark. So jump back on camera real quick. All right, folks, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Great turnout. It was a great session. I'm sorry I didn't get to go deeper on some of those topics, but there's just so much, and I wanted to give you a good overview and then a little bit of detail, you know, so I hope that you found value in it. If you didn't, I apologize. I do my best. So yeah. James says another one. Yes, I'm glad that's catching on. Check out my Legit Friends t-shirt, by the way. Hope you like that. All right, guys, we'll do this probably, well, it's probably not going to be next Wednesday. Usually these are going to be Wednesday at 1, but I'm traveling next Wednesday and I have to check the times and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But we will be back some point next week with another one on-page SEO. So if you're watching this on YouTube, do me a favor and subscribe and click the notification bell. That'll help me get seen by more folks and it encourages me to keep doing a great job for you. If you're watching on Facebook, just drop a comment and let me know if you enjoyed this. And if you're watching anywhere else, that's cool too. I don't know what you're supposed to do on those platforms though. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, and Jim, thanks for hanging out with me. The presentation will be uploaded to wherever you're watching this. Once I get it uploaded, you can check out the links, you can check out the services. And most of all, what I want you to do is figure out what you want out of life and go out and get it because you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the world. I'll see you next week. Peace.